Happy New Year's, ladies and gentlemen. 2026 has begun, and a sense of new optimism is in the air. Before we finally draw the curtain on the year that was 2025, let's take a look back and reflect on the accomplishments and highlights TNA Wrestling was able to produce this year. Although 2025 was far from a perfect year on TNA's side, they still did enough this year to be considered a success in the eyes of many. Welcome to Lace 'em Up Media, and here are the 10 best things about TNA Wrestling in 2025. Number 10. Historic title reigns. The year kicked off with Joe Hendry becoming the brand new TNA World Champion at the Genesis pay-per-view, making Joe the second Scottish-born wrestler since Drew McIntyre to become a world champion in TNA. His 126-day reign saw the viral sensation compete in TNA, NXT, and even make a few appearances at the Royal Rumble and even a brief singles match with Randy Orton at WrestleMania 41 Night 2. Hendry's time on top would be ended at the hands of Trick Williams at NXT Battleground, which officially started the trend of NXT stars winning TNA titles as names like Kalani Jordan, Channing Lorenzo and JC Jane all became champions in 2025, with JC becoming the first woman to hold the NXT and TNA women's titles at the same time. Meanwhile, Matt and Jeff Hardy won the NXT Tag Team titles, the only TNA stars to win NXT Gold, while Ash By Elegance and Laying Lee won their first Knockouts World Championships on NXT programming. Outside of these crossover title changes, Mike Santana became the first Puerto Rican wrestler to win the world title at Bound for Glory, and then 30-plus days later, Frankie Kazarian became the first TNA original since Eric Young in 2020 to become world champion. Number 9. Order 4. In recent years, TNA has gotten into the habit of putting some of their wrestlers in factions, albeit with varying degrees of success. But of the many groups that helped to define TNA in 2025, it has to be Order 4. Following Mustafa Ali's return to TNA, the former X-Division champion decided to create a group of like-minded individuals in the form of Jason Hotch and John Schuyler of the Great Hands and former Knockouts champion Tasha Steelz. Serving as the main members of Ali's cabinet, the group would flaunt their superiority in the face of the fans and members of the locker room whilst being flanked by Secret Service agents, including a hulking new addition to the group known as Agent Zero. Infighting soon began to break out within the group by the summer, but that was soon dealt with thanks to Tasha Steelz' skills in manipulation. Cedric Alexander, the Hardys, the System and the Rascals have all tangled with Order 4 this year and in the process produced some of the best matches of 2025. Number 8. The Santana/Ali feud. Not content with having a legion of supporters in Order 4, Mustafa Ali went to battle with various wrestlers on the TNA roster, but undoubtedly the best would have to be Ali's rivalry with Mike Santana. On the January 23 edition of Impact, Ali made a surprise return to TNA and interrupted Santana in the middle of a promo whilst ignoring his presence in the ring. It soon became clear a feud was bound to emerge between the two, with elements of ego, sobriety, and essentially determining who would be the top guy to lead TNA in the future. As mentioned in our video on the best TNA matches of 2025, the matches between Santana and Ali, notably their match at Rebellion, was one of the all-time best of 2025, so much so that it earned the award for Match of the Year by both fans and management. With Santana poised to recapture the world title in the near future and Ali more than ready to compete in the main event scene, it's only a matter of time before we see these two face off inside a TNA ring once again. Number 7. Maclin's career resurgence. There are few wrestlers who have managed to stay consistent in their character and body of work than Steve Maclin. Often seen as the dark horse of TNA, Maclin's rise within the ranks culminated when he won the Impact World Championship at Rebellion 2023, only for it to end after 54 days. Following this, Maclin's booking felt pretty aimless for much of late 2023 to 2024. Sure, his matches with Nick Nemeth and Josh Alexander were great, but Maclin still came off as underutilized in the eyes of fans, and something needed to change. By April of 2025, the digital media title was retired, and in its place was the brand new International Championship, with a tournament being made at that year's Unbreakable event to crown the inaugural champion. Maclin won the title, and for a combined 216 days he would defend the belt against Eric Young, Jake Something and Mance Warner in a series of violent matches that helped to make the title feel important and by extension made Steve Maclin feel like a rising star once again. His title losses to Frankie Kazarian and later Channing Lorenzo may have dented his momentum somewhat, but Maclin's run as international champion helped to elevate his stock after a period of creative stagnation. Number 6. The Elegance brand. Order 4 wasn't the only group dominating the headlines in 2025, as this year also saw the rise of perhaps the most elegant faction to grace the Knockouts division. By late 2024, Ash by Elegance and her personal concierge had already incorporated indie wrestler Heather Reckless, later Heather by Elegance, into their group and had already began a feud with Jody Threat and Danny Luna of Spitfire for the Knockouts Tag Team Championships. By early 2025, the feud continued on with both Heather and Ash finally capturing the tag titles during a 3-on-2 handicap match at Sacrifice. Around the same time, they also added another indie wrestler into the group in Maggie Lee, renamed M by Elegance, and before long the group became known as the Elegance brand. For much of the summer and the fall, the Elegance brand would sneak their way to victory during matches with the Inspiration, the Angel Warriors, and even brought back the Knockouts World title back to TNA after Ash by Elegance won a 3-way match on NXT to win the title. Sadly, for undisclosed reasons, Ash had to not only vacate the title she just won but also retire from in-ring competition. Not long after this, Heather and M would lose the tag straps to the Inspiration before losing the rematch at the Countdown to Bound for Glory event. Although the group continues its pursuit of adding a new member to the group, it's likely we'll see a return to prominence by the Elegance brand. Number 5. Live episodes. As many fans know, TNA records weeks of programming during a set of tapings, which leads to websites and fans alike to leak spoilers about stuff that takes place during these tapings. But by 2025, the company decided to do something it hadn't done in over a decade, and that's airing live episodes of the show. In 2025, around 12 episodes of TNA Impact were aired live across the entire year, with certain episodes containing memorable moments like the aforementioned Mustafa Ali announcing his signing with the company to Frankie Kazarian's shocking win of the TNA World Championship. Of course, due to the amount of money it takes to run live episodes, TNA doesn't do it as much as other promotions. But in their attempt to make the live shows interesting, they'll make special announcements or have shocking returns take place to keep the fans on their toes. And speaking of shocking returns, Number 4. The Returns. 2025 didn't just see NXT stars make an appearance in TNA. In fact, this year saw a lot of familiar faces make a comeback, with a small few of them actually wrestled. While wrestlers like Chris Bay, The Beautiful People, Tara and Mickie James appeared for ceremonial reasons, others like Jazz, Sean Waltman, Chavo Guerrero and Mr. Anderson got physical during a match or wrestled on an episode of Impact. Elsewhere you had Killer Kelly, Rich Swann, Mustafa Ali, The Inspiration and Desmond Xavier compete on a regular basis upon their return to the company. By far the biggest returns this year both took place at Slammiversary, when AJ Styles arrived at the end of an X Division title match to address the TNA fans for the first time in over a decade, and even gave Leon Slater a massive endorsement following his title win. Following the Hardys' recapture of the TNA tag titles, out came Bully Ray, who challenged Matt and Jeff to a tables match at Bound for Glory, with the bout being the final send-off for Team 3D. They say nostalgia sells, and considering the numbers TNA did this year, that proved to be the case. Number 3. Leon Slater. If there was one wrestler who unquestionably had a great year in professional wrestling in 2025, look no further than Leon Slater. At the beginning of the year, Slater had one goal on his mind, and that's to become the youngest X Division champion in company history. While he nearly achieved this at TNA's Rebellion pay-per-view, he came up short thanks to defending champion Moose. But at least Slater was able to hit his 450 Swanton finisher during the Ultimate X match, which became an iconic, if not dangerous, moment within his career. After feuding with the system on and off, Leon defeated Moose at Slammiversary to become the youngest X Division champion at just 21 years old. Slater also got the endorsements of legends like AJ Styles, John Cena and the Hardys, with Team Extreme even dubbing the young Leon an honorary Hardy. But it wasn't just TNA Slater was making waves. He also competed on NXT and even an episode of Saturday Night's Main Event, which also happened to be the same show where John Cena had his final wrestling match. While a certain section of the fans are expecting Leon to sign with WWE once his contract is up, we think he still has a lot to prove in TNA, and it's going to be interesting to see what's in store for him in 2026. Number 2. Business keeps booming. For many years, TNA has slowly grabbed the attention of the wrestling world once more due to their partnerships with AEW, New Japan, and WWE. Not to mention the in-ring product and the talent involved had helped to make TNA a brand worth watching, but in 2025 it was the business side of things where the company shined. January through March saw TNA host major shows in the state of Texas and saw an estimated 3,000 to 4,000 people inside the Curtis Culwell Center and the El Paso County Coliseum. In April, TNA sold out the Galen Center in Los Angeles, California for their Rebellion pay-per-view, not to mention Under Siege and Turning Point were also sold out shows in the month of May and November. But it was the months of July and October that proved to be a high point for TNA's ticket sales. Slammiversary, TNA's annual summer event, saw the show accumulate a record-breaking 7,623 people in attendance for a TNA pay-per-view, shattering the previous record held by Lockdown 2013 at 7,200. Bound for Glory also did great business, although the attendance figures the company reported and what they actually were ended up being a point of contention. Regardless, TNA proved they could draw in huge numbers for their shows, but if we're talking about the company's biggest success story of 2025, it has to be Number 1. The AMC TV deal. It was on July 28, 2014 when news broke that TNA Wrestling was going to be cancelled by Spike TV, ending a near 10-year run on the channel and paving the way for a period of channel hopping for TNA, which saw the ratings massively dip compared to what they did on Spike. Although TNA's newest parent company, Anthem Sports, managed to buy Access TV in 2019 as a way to get more eyeballs on the product, it simply wasn't enough. But on a late November night in 2025, an announcement was made that suddenly changed TNA's fortune when it came to viewership and visibility going into the new year. On November 2nd, a video from AMC's official X account revealed that TNA Wrestling was moving to their network on January 15th, mere days before the company's Genesis pay-per-view. The response to this news was damn near universal, with fans, journalists, and wrestlers alike celebrating TNA for finally getting another major TV deal, and one with a channel that gave the world shows like Mad Men, Breaking Bad, and The Walking Dead. Although the exact amount of money TNA is making from this deal isn't entirely clear, some estimate between $10 to $30 million, and considering the contract situation of some of TNA's wrestlers, this could help in convincing many of them to stay or open the door to sign new talent to the roster. For these reasons and so much more, is why the company's TV deal with AMC takes the top spot as the best thing about TNA Wrestling in 2025. And that's our list. What you think was the best thing about TNA Wrestling last year? Leave your thoughts in the comment section. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel for more wrestling content. Also be sure to hit the bell so you never miss another one of our videos when it drops.